So if you wanted to stab somebody with it, you could. Hey, what's up you guys? Shortimus Prime here doing another Transformers figure review on the Transformers 4 Age of Extinction Voyager class Drift in his helicopter mode. If you're trying to get your Transformers figures, you can get those
big. Get your big badass toys at BigBadToyStore.com. Click the link in the description below.
I believe this is the same image of Drift that we saw on the deluxe class version. I'm not really sure, but yeah, we get the Transformers right over there. We get a couple of pictures of Drift, and then we get a bio if you want to read that. Pause it now. And then here's Slog, which I already reviewed. Again, big thanks to my ankle-breaking brother for both of these figures. Anyway, let's get to it and crack this figure open. This Transformer, it is hella sick. I love this Drift figure, man. It is awesome. Now, it is a retooled version of Skyhammer from Dark of the Moon, who did not show up in Dark of the Moon at all, but I picked up the figure because I just thought it looked awesome anyway. So I think I got this off of Facebook, by the way. So yeah, they're basically the same thing. Subtle differences aside from the paint. You know, the paint's a huge difference, but I think they did a really good job on this. I like what they've done here. I just think it's a very unique kind of transformation for a helicopter figure to have the propellers, you know, attached to the back like that. I thought that was a great idea for the Skyhammer, and I think this works very well for Drift. Anyway, let's take a closer look at his accessories. He has these two katanas, which look great. I like the gold paint over here, and I like how it fades out right at the bottom on each of them. It looks very, very cool. I like these a lot, and they do connect to form one larger sword, which I don't really like having it displayed like this. I think it's kind of weird having him hold it by only one handle, and then this is just all empty, so that is a little strange. They have these kind of weird hooks over here where you kind of have to like loop them through his hands, and it's kind of a weird, you know, way to go about having him hold them, but you know, it works out. Just have it rotated over here. Now, unfortunately for me, I think they should have made these a little bit smaller, as I see some stress marks right there on the thumb. It's happening on the other hand as well. You can see the stress mark right there turning white. Now, I find it a little unfortunate there's no weapon storage for his back. He also comes with these missile launchers right here, same mold as the ones that came with Skyhammer, so yeah, these look pretty cool. And you could have Drift hold these in his hands if you want to, so they could fit right there. You could fit on him on his forearms, that works. You can have them stored on the back over here, so there's several ports where you could plug these into. I'm really digging this head sculpt a lot, man. Look at all those detailed sculpted lines in there. The gold looks amazing. I really dig the gold. We have some really bright blue. Then we have also the royal blue going on throughout the figure too. Here's a look at the back of his samurai helmet over here. Looks pretty good. And then there's the top of it. And the color choices throughout the entire figure are just pretty cool. I like that Autobot logo right there on his right shoulder. And these sections right here on his arms and the rest of the figure is a slightly different color gold than we got on the helmet. I like this color a little bit more, but this is kind of like a beigeish gold, and it fits in well with the rest of the figure. It doesn't look too bad. And this is a very dark blue right there. It's a navy blue right there on his lower torso. And the legs look pretty nice. We also get some nice feet on the figure too. He has some nice heel spurs, and these little things stick out right there. This little gold piece will go back in if you just tap it, but all you have to do is to really just push on the back of it, and then it'll come back out, so that's not too bad. Now, aside from the head sculpt, these turbines right here are the only newly sculpted part compared to Skyhammer right here, so it's just slightly different. I'm kind of curious why they did that. You know, there's not a huge difference over there, but it is something new. Now, I like the articulation on this guy. His head can move up just a little bit. It's kind of hard to see with these propellers in the way, but it does look up a little bit. It doesn't really move down. It rotates side to side, and you get a tiny little bit of head pivot over there. Now, these pieces can move upwards, so you can move his shoulders all the way outward like that. They can rotate forward. He has a bicep swivel. He bends 90 degrees at the elbow. No wrist articulation, though. He does have a waist swivel, which I think is fantastic. His legs move all the way outward. He can kick all the way forward really high. Wow, that's a really high kick. And then he has a knee swivel right here. He bends at the knee 90 degrees. And he doesn't have any ankle articulation, but you can kind of collapse these feet, and that's really about it. Now, in his robot mode, this Voyager class figure stands at 7 inches tall. And here he is next to his twin Skyhammer. Here he is next to the Marvel Legends Big Time Letdown Spider-Man. And here's our Voyager Drift compared to our deluxe class Drift, which turns into a car. I would have preferred they made a triple changer figure, but I still think these are both pretty cool. I like this one because it really has that samurai look to it. He has these shingles and armor over here that really reminds me of a samurai. Because not only does he have that samurai look, I think he fits better into scale with the other figures. You know, you take Hound over here, Drift is standing taller than Hound just by a little bit, and that's not really film accurate. I'm pretty sure Drift was around the same height as Bumblebee and Crosshairs. Hey look, it's Baby Drift and Daddy Drift. Whee! Then here he is next to IDW Drift, One Step Changer Drift, and Mashers Drift. Oh no, do you feel it coming? Drift party, yeah! Now the transformation is not terribly complex, but a little tricky from what I can remember. Anyway, let's get to it. He takes us away, Bumblebee. Alright, good job, Bumblebee. So first you're going to detach these propellers. These all go into these little ports that are on the sides of these fins over here. So just untab all of these, get them out there, and then straighten them out, and then the entire helicopter piece, or the propeller piece, is going to separate, so that's going to lift up right there, and then you can spin that around if you have the arms out of the way. And then what you can do also is turn the arms backwards, and then you want to get these pieces out of the way over here too. So you're going to straighten this out and then just remove it. It's got 2 hinges on it, so you have to take this section and fold it out, and then it's going to fold down again. So hinge right here and hinge right there. So you're basically just trying to get that out of the way, and then you're going to go ahead and collapse the front of the helicopter over his face. But first, you want to take these pieces right here. There's this tab right here that connects into this piece, and whenever I connect that, it makes it very difficult to spin this section around. So I tend to just purposely mistransform that. For right now, we'll try to get that tabbed in there, and then connect the cockpit of the helicopter in the front right there, so you can see it's making the cockpit. It doesn't look too bad. And then we have these arms right over here, which we're going to take apart. They fold out, so these have 2 hinges, a hinge here and a hinge here, and just going to make sure that this gold piece is all straightened out all the way, and do the same thing to the other side. So unhinge and then extend that all the way over there. That's going to form the side of the helicopter. Then don't forget to put the hands into the forearms. Swing that all the way through right there. Then there's this hole, and then there's this tab right there, and it's just going to connect. So you're just going to wrap that through. And at the same time, you could start to fold this down a little bit, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Get that all tabbed in there, and then you just take this piece over here, and you're going to scoot that forward. This piece is sticking out, and it's going to go into the slot of the side of the helicopter, and that goes in. So that's the front of it. And now looking at the back of this guy, we're going to bend up here. He has like 2 knee joints, but they're just for the transformation. So there's a bend right there where you can see that metal pin, and then it's going to bend one more time right there. So this is going to connect and make a solid piece. Do the same thing to the other side. Wow, look at that twirl action going on. And then we can extend this bottom part of the foot, and actually you want to flip that up. The heel spur is going to flip up, and then the foot's going to move down, and then rotate this and rotate that. And then this side has that rear fin going on. I can't remember the exact name of it. And then this part is going to pop out. Then just take this one piece and pop that out. And then we're going to connect these right over here. And then that goes in nicely. And then this whole section, it's kind of like a backwards ab crunch or a diaphragm crunch. It's going to move all the way down, and then we're gonna shift this up at the same time. Yeah, just needs to be tightened up a little bit, and I'll add the propellers on. So there he is, tightened up like James Brown, and his propellers all attached and everything. This is pretty awesome. I'm digging that a lot. I really like this helicopter mode. It is badass. Now he does have some landing gear, which is really cool, so you could pop this front wheel out right there, and then you may have seen this already on his robot mode, you could swing these down right here. So there's his landing gear. Looks really cool. And then he does have tons of weapon storage, which I really like. So these rocket launchers or missile launchers, you can attach them to the sides right here, which I think is cool. So he still has those ports that were on his forearms. I think that looks pretty good. Or you can store them right here at the bottom. There's 2 different spots where you could store them at the bottom. I think that's typically where helicopters put them, so that doesn't look too bad. I like that. And there's even storage for his swords over here. It's kind of tricky. There's this little tab right there, and there's a little slot at the edge of the wing, and you can sneak that in there. It's kind of at a weird angle, but there it goes. And then get this one in here. Again, kind of a weird angle, but it does work, and they stay there. They're not gonna, you know, I could shake him around, he's not gonna fall off, so that is cool. A little over-exaggerated with those swords right there at the ends of the wings, but still, you know, he's got full-on weapon storage for his alt mode, and I think that is fantastic. Or we can have him face this other way, which might make a little bit more sense. Plus, look how this spins, man. Bam! They're spinning! I really like how the cockpit looks on this guy. It looks very cool, and there's those turbines again, those newly sculpted turbines. Autobot logo showing up. And a common theme throughout the figure is having these bolts sculpted in there. I think that's really cool, like especially on the wing right here. I think that looks great. Really digging that a lot. This is a really cool helicopter mode. I just think this looks really awesome. What else can I say? Looking underneath this too, it has no kibble on it. It's all very smooth. And I just forgot about this port right here, so that you can take, I don't know, one of these pieces right there. So there's one more piece of weapon storage. That's actually for Skyhammer's giant weapon, but you could put this guy right in there too. With his landing gear out, Drift measures at about 7.5 inches across and about 3 inches tall. And here's Drift compared to Skyhammer. I guess I'm liking the Drift look without having the katanas on the sides over there, but yeah, very similar figures. They're They're practically the same. I like them both very much though. Both very, very cool. And here's Drift compared to Drift. I would prefer to triple changer, but I still like both of these figures. If you have a Mafex clear stand, you could put this underneath your Drift figure and you can have him flying, huh? It doesn't look too bad. I'm digging it. I actually really like this figure. Not totally necessary for your collection. You can get away with having the deluxe Drift, but I like this one a little bit better, I think. I don't know. I like them both. It's really hard for me to say. Anyway, I hope you guys liked my video. If you did, go ahead, please hit the like button. Don't forget to leave a comment and subscribe if you haven't already. And check out tformers.com for the latest in Transformers news and a photo gallery of images. I'll catch you later. Peace.
Gave it a spark. Welcome to articulated comic book art.
That's crispy.
Compared to Skyhammer, yeah.